The Pratas Islands, a new flashpoint in the South China Sea. As China's military intimidation of Taiwan intensifies, experts are increasingly warning of a possible Chinese attack and the potential danger in the Taiwan Strait. Considering the language Chinese media use regarding measures to punish Taiwan, there is now an urgent need to consider China's possible engagement in some sort of military action against Taiwan. At present, it is improbable that the PLA would attempt to actually land troops and occupy the island of Taiwan, because the probability of a successful military operation with minimum casualties for China is low. However, China has other options, one of which would be to apply pressure on or capture the Pratas Islands. The Pratas Islands are located in the northern part of the South China Sea under the jurisdiction of the Republic of China, Taiwan, closer to China's mainland coast than to the island of Taiwan. Historically, the Pratas Islands have attracted little attention, but as the importance of the South China Sea has increased, so too has the strategic relevance of the Pratas Islands. If China controlled the Pratas Islands, the islands could function as a gatekeeper to monitor U.S. and other countries' ships and aircraft entering the South China Sea from the Pacific Ocean. Pratas Island, the other islands in the group, are essentially rocks, has an airport, but no permanent inhabitants, only a number of civil officials of the Taiwanese Coast Guard and researchers. It is believed that around 500 soldiers of the ROC Marine Corps are also now stationed there. However, because the island is so small and flat, it is almost impossible to defend. Since August, there have been reports of the PLA repeatedly conducting military exercises in the area, its aircraft flying over the sea almost daily in an apparent attempt to cut off the supply line between the Pratas Islands and the island of Taiwan. In October, a Taiwanese airplane flying from Kaohsiung carrying supplies to the Pratas Islands was warned by Hong Kong Air Traffic Control not to enter Hong Kong-managed airspace and return to Taiwan. These incidents demonstrate that China could take control of the Pratas Islands whenever Chinese President Xi Jinping decides. That would offer numerous benefits to China. It would demonstrate China's will and capabilities to Taiwan and other neighboring countries. China could militarize the island as a step toward internalizing the entire South China Sea. It would disrupt the early days of the Biden administration by retaking the initiative from the United States after 4 years of endurance under President Donald Trump. Xi has been in office for 8 years now, but the unification of Taiwan is no closer. The capture of the Pratas Islands might serve to cover this inconvenient truth, and could be used to play up the propaganda war that unification is approaching both at home and abroad. As for taking control of the Pratas Islands, China has plenty of options. It could conduct a surprise landing operation, forcing the Taiwanese garrison to surrender. It could blockade the islands by air and sea to exhaust Taiwanese soldiers. Alternatively, it could simply make a preliminary declaration of an attack or blockade in a bid to force the Taiwanese garrison to retreat. For a longer-term approach, it could use acts of tacit interference against Taiwanese ships and aircraft to paralyze the supply line. Or it could normalize military exercises around the islands to create psychological pressure on the Taiwanese people. For Xi, who will preside over the centennial anniversary of the CCP in 2021 and the 20th Party Congress in 2022, and who envisages an extension of his term of office, it might be desirable and even necessary to show some progress toward the unification of Taiwan. Recent opinion surveys show rising anti-China sentiment in the United States, Japan, and other democratic countries. Any attack on Taiwan now would surely prompt an outcry in these countries. She is surely aware of the damage to China's reputation that military action would cause. But the Pratas Islands might be different given that few people outside the immediate region have heard of them. The Chinese leadership may calculate that the international reaction to the capture of the Pratas Islands would not be as intense as that which would inevitably follow an attack on Taiwan itself. Moreover, China could experiment with the various options noted above. For instance, while monitoring the response in Washington, China could start with the stepped-up military exercises before moving to supply line disruptions. If that met with only a muted reaction from the Biden administration, China could escalate. If the U.S. response was more robust, China could avoid further escalation and continue to exert pressure on Taiwan with supply line interference. If this were to create a panic and feeling of resignation in Taiwan, it would be a windfall for Xi. In capturing the Pratas Islands, China could kill several birds with one stone. For instance, success could serve to consolidate Xi's grip on the CCP. As such, the islands are a potential flashpoint that now need to come to the attention of the US, Japan, and other democratic countries. Of all the developments in China's capability, none have captured global attention more than its nascent aircraft carrier fleet. But another major naval project that is just coming to fruition is perhaps of even greater concern to China's rivals, particularly East and Southeast Asian states. That project, known as the Type 075 Landing Helicopter Dock, LHD, will be the largest vessel beyond China's aircraft carriers when it is commissioned into service, probably next year. An LHD is an immensely powerful ship, a type of amphibious assault vessel that is designed to enable landings and literal warfare in contested spaces. To achieve this, an LHD is able to host a fleet of attack and transport helicopters, up to 30 in the case of the Type 075, as well as vessels and troops that can be launched while at sea. Last month, China's first Type 075 underwent sea trials in the South China Sea. Satellite imagery analyzed by the Center for Strategic and International Studies, a think tank in Washington, D.C., suggested that the vessel had sailed into the disputed waters with an escort of 5 vessels for its second round of trials. The first round took place in August, off the coast of Shanghai, on the vessel's maiden voyage. The sailing of the Type 075 through the South China Sea can be seen as an assertive diplomatic move, but it was made all the more significant by the fact that it was quickly followed by another exercise in the sea. Just over a week after the Type 075 voyage, China also sent 3 Type 071 amphibious dock landing ships, landing platform docks or LPDs, to the South China Sea for exercises. The Type 071 was China's first substantial amphibious vessel. Although smaller and less capable than the Type 075, it carries only 4 helicopters, for instance, rather than 30. When it was first commissioned in 2007, the Type 071 provided Beijing for the first time with a blue water capability to launch and land hundreds of troops and vehicles. In the space of just 1 week, therefore, China has showcased and tried out its most advanced amphibious warfare vessels. Half of its Type 071 fleet was on display, as was its newest and most capable Type 075, which only has 2 ships in the water currently. These vessels may not yet rival the U.S. amphibious fleet, which includes 8 Wasp-class LHDs, 2 America-class landing helicopter assault (LFA) warships, and 11 San Antonio-class LPDs. Nor will the Type 071 and new Type 075 be much of a direct threat to the US. The chances of China launching an amphibious operation on US soil is basically zero. But these amphibious vessels are certainly a concern for East and Southeast Asian states, many of whom already have maritime disputes with China. The Type 075 and Type 071 are perfect for launching amphibious operations on small, remote islands, similar to those in the South and East China Seas. Their complement of helicopters can provide air cover and transport, while troops land on beaches and overwhelm enemy positions. It is thus no coincidence that both the Type 075 and the Type 071 were recently seen in the South China Sea. Such naval outings and exercises have a dual purpose. On the one hand, they test and train personnel and equipment, ensuring the greatest readiness for conflict. At the same time, they are also a highly effective form of maritime diplomacy, intended to signal to allies and rivals alike a nation's intentions, capabilities, and resolve. Every aspect of a naval exercise will thus be carefully chosen to ensure the right units and equipment are being trained, while also making sure that the right messages are being sent. And the messages being sent by the recent maneuvers will be heard loud and clear among China's neighbors, training and testing large amphibious ships in a sea filled with internecine maritime disputes over small islands that would be the perfect arena in which to use such vessels.